Welcome to Aguilar.
Hi everybody, I'm Dave Avenius with Aguilar Amplification. We're here at our factory in Manhattan, 599 Broadway. If any of you ever want a factory tour, please email us and let us know when you're in the city. We'd be happy to show you around. Right at the moment, we're in our pickup department. Our pickups, we're very excited about how our pickups have been doing for us. Whether someone wants to use them as an aftermarket upgrade or Federa uses our pickups, F-Base, Roscoe, Zon, Spectre. There are a lot of great brands using Aguilar right at the moment. And we make all those pickups right here. We have a variety of fixtures and things that we've created to allow us to press the different magnets and fiber into a bobbin. These are all things that we do. We press these bobbins in-house, and then there's a process and a flow to everything we do at Aguilar. So whenever something moves from one part of the shop to another, it goes with what we call a work order traveler. And this tells an assembler what product they're going to make, and we keep track of who does what step. So who makes the bobbin, who winds it, who tests it, who plates, if there's copper plating or anything. And you know, so we track all of the steps as something moves around the factory. In this particular case, a bobbin would be pressed here, and then it would move over to this workstation and it would get wound on either this winder or that winder over there. And this stores all the programs for the different types of pickups we make. You know, we now make quite a variety. We have our 60s jazz bass and P bass. We have our 70s jazz bass. We have our hot P and Js. We have hum canceling. We have soap bars. We have Music Man replacement pickups. So there's a wide variety of Aguilar pickups available at the moment. Then the pickups will proceed into this room. Depending on what kind of pickup it is, if it's a jazz-based pickup or one of our super singles, anything except the bar magnets, it would get magnetized on this machine. And then it gets potted in one of these different machines. Some of them we pot in wax, and others we pot with epoxy. You know, the soap bars tend to get potted in the epoxy, and then they get packed. You know, we have all of our different covers for the different models of pickups, and then they get packed and labeled, and you know, if someone's buying them in a store, they get put into a nice box with nice packaging, and then hopefully you put them in one of your bases and enjoy the sound of Aguilar pickups. So our factory here in Manhattan is 10,000 square feet, and that's divided up between our office space and our manufacturing floor. The production floor starts with, we have a little machine shop for prototyping parts. This allows us, you know, to bend basic metal, mock things up. Sometimes it helps to see something before we actually finish the design. It's also it's where we make our fixtures and things for our pickup department. And then we also have our tech department right here, where we rework products or if repairs come in and things like that. This is Misha over here. Misha's our technician, and he's working on some pedals at the moment that just came off the production line. And then we're going to go to where we make the tone hammer amps. So we have 4 different workstations here, and each one is set up with all of the parts necessary to build either the Tone Hammer 500 or the Tone Hammer 350. And the bins are color-coded, so one of the colors means that it's parts used for either amp, the other color means it's for the 500 or the 350. We try to make things as visually easy to work with as possible. Each of our assemblers is trained to build any of our pedals, our amps, the Tone Hammer amps, or the 751 eventually, and then every couple of days they rotate around to a different workstation so that making each product stays fresh in their mind. But they're all very smart, they work very hard, and some of building the product is, you know, we always try to make a process that's easy to manufacture, but you also develop muscle memory the more you do it. So the guys, quality always comes first, and then they get quicker and quicker at it as they've been here longer. So Anthony's just putting the top on a Tonehammer 500 that he's just built. And one thing that's important to our process is a concept called single piece flow. And single piece flow may mean different things in different manufacturing environments. In our environment, it means that each assembler builds the product from the beginning to the end. So Anthony would have started this amp, and he knows everything that's been done to the amp because he put it together. After he is done putting it together, it will go and it'll be tested on this setup here. This allows us to test all the electrical functions of the amplifier. If it passes that, it then gets looked at by a quality control inspector, and then after the top is put on, it'll go to the Burnin Shelf over here. All of our amps and our pedals burn in for a specific amount of time depending on the kind of product it is. After it gets burned in, which basically means that we leave it on to make sure that if a cold solder joint or a part's going to fail, usually you find that out immediately with this process. Then it goes to our listening room, and we have a basic fixture in there. We listen to every amp, we turn every knob, we push every button, we check every jack, and each amp is actually played through. And I'll show you that on the pedal line as well. We actually have two workstations for making DB751s. So each one of these, it's a similar setup. You have your one station with all the parts you need to make that amp. Moves over here, gets checked on an electrical test fixture, then it gets inspected by a quality control inspector, goes over to Burnin, gets listened to. We're very process and procedure oriented, and as much as possible to make things flow properly, we try to have the same process for any product. A little different when you get to pickups because the assembly is a little different, but we still base all of our production on similar principles. Over here is where we make our pedals. So we have 3 workstations for the pedals, and each one, because we make so many pedals at any given time, it was more efficient for us to build the test fixture into the workstation. So you'll notice a computer monitor and things. So after each pedal is made, it gets immediately plugged into the computer. We turn the knobs, we check all the electrical functions, and we store that in the computer so we can always reference it in the future if we need to. We also have a burn-in shelf for the pedals, and then our test fixture for the pedals. So even with all the pedals burn in and they get listened to. Turn every knob, we push every button, we check every jack, just like all of the amplifiers. So the pedals all get checked out here, then they go into our shipping department where they get a final inspection, which is purely a visual inspection. The guys look at each thing to make sure that everything fit and finish is all just perfect before we pack it and ship it all over the world for someone to enjoy making music through an Aguilar product.